Hey y'all, I'm Michelle Hill with Southern Inspirations. Welcome to Good Eating. Y'all, I have partnered with food blogger Daniel Champagne of D Champ Eats to bring you regular episodes of Inspiration in the Kitchen. Daniel and I have teamed up to share with you some of our favorite recipes from childhood and beyond. Come on in and watch today's episode of Good Eating Inspiration in the Kitchen. Hey there, everyone. I am Michelle Hill with Southern Inspirations, and with me is Daniel Champagne of D Champ Eats, and we are back for another episode of Inspiration in the Kitchen. Hey there, Daniel.
Hey, Michelle. How you doing?
I am doing good and excited about this as always.
Yes. I'm excited too.
Yes. So for everyone watching, you see there at the top of the screen, chili. So surprise, we're making chili.
Right.
Daniel and I were chatting earlier this week, and just as we are now knocking on the door of fall soups and stews and chili, I take it that means you like fall, Daniel.
I love fall. And even right now that it's like 68 degrees in the morning, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. Any chill in the air, I'm all for it.
Just the cooler, crisp, and probably everything that goes with it, huh?
Yes, absolutely. Soup, pumpkin spice, comfort food, all that kind of stuff.
I like all of it, except I'm not a pumpkin spice fan. Now, I like pumpkins. In fact, I bought 2 nice large pumpkins today, but they're on my front porch. Making pie out of them, or roast. I have roasted the seeds before. They're okay. I'm not going to be one in line at Starbucks getting the pumpkin spice latte or whatever, but that's all right. I like everything else about fall. So we are here to make chili and have some fun with it. And as always, Daniel and I both like to put our extra little spin on our recipe and try different things. And Daniel, y'all have your chili on top of something a little bit different from what we have ours on top of.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Like, I grew up just eating chili in a bowl with like crackers, on the side, and you like crush them on top. That was like what we had. But then I got married, and my wife has always put chili on top of spaghetti. And so now we put chili on top of spaghetti, and it is actually really delicious. You take one comfort food and put it on top of another comfort food, and it's perfect.
How can you go wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what do you do?
Well, and we put our chili on top of tater tots. Now, I don't do it every time. I say we. It's mainly my daughter. She's the one that kind of started it.
Yeah.
She eats it like that all of the time. I kind of rotate. Sometimes I'll be in a chili on top of tater tot mood. Mm-hmm. And then other times I will just want it with Frito, make it like a Frito chili pie or have Tito's. But there's one thing, and of course we do cheese and sour cream, but there is one thing, and you can probably guess, that always goes on top of the chili. Actually, 2 things, but guess what one of the 2 things is. It always goes on top of my chili. My bowl. Come on, yes. Either pepper sauce or jalapenos or sliced jalapenos.
I was like,
all right, enough of that fun talk. I know folks want to see us make our chili.
Yeah.
So go ahead and let us know what you've got started, and then I'll adjust the camera and we'll talk about what I've got started.
Sounds good. So in my pan, I started browning turkey. So that's our family's jam is ground turkey. We also love ground beef, but we had ground turkey on hand. And so I started browning some ground turkey, and then I added half of a diced onion and a whole diced green bell pepper. And so that is cooking and simmering all together to soften up those veggies so it all melds together and is really delicious.
Yep. And mine is very similar, except that I have ground beef So it's about 1.5 pounds of ground beef, and I used one small yellow onion, and I did about a half of quite large green bell pepper. So I've got that in, and then I also added 4 pretty nice size garlic cloves. I just added that in there. And so just as Daniel said, I've got mine all simmering, and mine is just about to the point to where those veggies are nice and soft, and Daniel, yours probably is too.
Yes.
And we will drain these and then I've not added any of my spices yet outside of that garlic. So we'll begin to add our tomatoey stuff and our spices.
Yes, absolutely. So do you want to drain first, or do you want me to drain?
You go ahead.
Okay, I'll go drain and you just keep chatting with us.
I'll find something to talk about, I'm sure. So y'all, chili is one of those things, like we were saying, there's so many different ways you can do it. And Daniel's family likes it on top of spaghetti. We do it on top of tater tots. But of course, it's really just whatever you like. Here's one of my favorite things about chili, and that is how good it is the next day and even the third day. It's kind of like spaghetti. Once you put it in the refrigerator, it just seems to get better and better as all those flavors kind of come together. So whether regardless of what you eat it on top of, it always seems to be so good that second and third day. Another thing is, I'm always curious to know, so please let us know on your recipes, what other types of meat you use. I've made chili before with deer meat. I know some people have used bison before, ground bison. Of course, Daniel uses the turkey. I'm using the ground beef tonight. Chunks of stew meat. I've actually had chili that way. And so there's so many. In fact, when I was at the store buying the ground beef for this, I also bought a sirloin tip roast that I'll just cut it up and do beef tips, because we love beef tips over rice a lot of times for dinner. And so I just thought about that now. I was like, wow, sometime I need to do a recipe with chili that has just like the big chunks of meat. But I can't help it. We really do love this recipe with just the ground beef.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go ahead and get mine drained, take care of that.
Sounds good. I love the comfort foodness of chili. And the beautiful thing is that it's really not that bad for you without like all the cheese and sour cream. And so you control it based on that. But you've got meat, you've got veggies, you've got beans, you've got tomatoes. Like, it's really good. And I was even thinking today, like, if we didn't do spaghetti, but I still wanted it to be on something, you can do some rice. You can do cauliflower rice if that's a thing you do. Like, we love cauliflower rice. And so I'm like, I want a bowl of this with cauliflower rice on a day where I don't need all the pasta or whatever. But let's be honest, who doesn't need all the pasta at the end of a long week, right? So let's have some pasta underneath our chili. But yeah, I love experimenting with it. And of course, the classic toppings are always in my fridge. For chili, but we just whip this together whenever we need something quick and easy on the meal calendar for the week. So this is perfect.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so we both got our meat mixtures back, and so next I'm going to go ahead and add my tomato products. And what I'm using tonight, and really, Daniel, like every other time I cook, it kind of comes down to, what do I have on hand? Do I have tomato paste, or do I have tomato sauce? Do I have some diced tomatoes? It's kind of whatever I have in terms of that. So tonight I have a can of just petite diced tomatoes. I really like using the ones that are chili flavored, but the store was out of them. I didn't have any in the pantry, but because I'm such a spice junkie, I can make up for not having the can that says chili flavored or chili style. I have plenty of chili spices in here. Exactly. So I put one can of the diced tomatoes, and then I'm going to go ahead and put an entire can of tomato sauce as well. So that's my tomato base. What about yours?
So we usually do Rotel as our diced tomatoes because we want those chilies in there, but there's not a lot of Rotel around these days. And so we had on hand, we just had a can of petite diced tomatoes. And so I've got those right here. And we put them in with the juice. And then we will refill the can with water and pop it back in there and pour some of that water in there. So that's kind of like your tomato sauce, your liquid, your extra liquid. Because we are using tomato paste. So I have tomato paste that I'm going to squeeze in here tonight. And so tomato paste will be my thicker tomato add-in to help with the texture and the thinness of that. So I start mixing it all together and let that come to a simmer. So tomatoes, some water, and some tomato paste for us tonight.
Awesome.
So like whatever you have on hand,
Well, yeah, exactly. And speaking of texture and consistency, mine's pretty thick right now. And of course, it cooks down a little bit as some of those juices continue to come out of the veggies and all. But depending on what consistency I want it as it finishes up, I add a little bit of water or beef broth. And so I have my beef broth on hand over here. I'm not going to add it just yet, but I've got it on hand because I'll probably pour a little bit in there as it cooks down, just to get it to the exact consistency I want. Yeah. Now, the fun part is just the spices, and I don't have my measuring spoons out because I never have my measuring spoons out when I do chili. I don't know if you're going to measure, Daniel.
I measured them to put all in one container, so I can kind of tell you what's in here. I eyeballed things as well.
Yeah,
so.
I do too. I've got to turn mine down. It's getting carried away over here. All right, so let's talk spices. What are you putting in yours?
So I have chili powder as my biggest thing. So you got that chili powder flavor. Yep. I've got cumin.
Yep.
Salt and pepper.
Yep.
I have garlic powder in mine. So I didn't do the fresh garlic. I did garlic powder. Okay. And then I added, instead of cayenne pepper, I did chipotle chili powder. So instead of cayenne powder, I did chipotle chili because that gives an extra smokiness. And so your turkey meat is a little bit lighter flavor. And so that gives it that extra added depth of flavor that sometimes turkey can be missing. But it also gives the spice that you want as well.
Right.
So.
Mine is so similar. And y'all, we didn't even talk about this ahead of time. We didn't even, and we'll never do. We usually don't compare recipes. It's so funny how close they are. So like you, I have chili powder, and it's the hot Mexican style chili powder. I know, right? And so, that reminds me. I forgot to mention when we were talking about the peppers, the green bell pepper and onion and garlic that went in mine. Daniel, I snuck in a few, and I say a few, probably about an eighth of a fresh jalapeno in there.
Ooh.
Because earlier today, I don't know if you know, but today is National Guacamole Day. And I made fresh guacamole earlier, and I didn't want to put all of that pepper in the guacamole so that it was just crazy hot. And I thought, ooh, I can sneak it into my chili. I'm not going to put as many spices as I normally do, on the spicy side because of the jalapeno. But at any rate, I have a few sprinkles of the hot Mexican chili powder, and cumin. I love cumin. I have to say it. I just love it.
And that's the thing is that most of the smell of chili and chili seasoning is actually cumin.
Yes, it is. It is. And then I got the chipotle chili pepper out and then the cayenne out. Actually, I just have them out because I'm going to wait, since I did put the jalapenos in there and I've already added that hot Mexican chili powder. I'm going to just wait and let this cook a little while, and when I do my taste test, then I'll decide if I'm going to put one of these in. So I've got that. And I'll also add paprika. And this one is almost out, so I'm literally just gonna dump what's left in there, just because it's almost out. And then I'll also put oregano in mine. And so I'm just sprinkling a little bit of oregano in, then fresh pepper, and then my salt.
Oh, it smells so good over here.
Yes. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
I'm gonna take a picture of mine in the pan, Got to get all the shots to put on social media.
Yes, absolutely. You got to do that. So I know that you're a fan of Trisha's Kitchen. I love watching The Kitchen, and then Ree Drummond and then Trisha are like back to back on Saturday morning. And Trisha has been doing those episodes lately. It's so funny where she's got her kids in there and they're filming. And she talks about stopping to take a picture for social media. I think it's just cute. It's just she's real, right?
Yep, exactly. We watch all those shows on Saturday morning.
Yep.
It's our tradition. Now game day is back on, so we watch that in college football.
Oh yeah, you got to watch that.
Yeah.
That's fun on Saturday mornings. Mine, and I'm sure yours too, has these beautiful colors of the tomatoes and the bell pepper. It's just coming together. So I'm going to put the lid on and just let that simmer for a while. Wherever I did my lid, it's going to simmer just a while. And then, y'all, I mentioned that I'll do a taste test and decide how much more seasoning I want to add. And then I have 2 cans of chili hot beans. We like beans in ours. And so just a few minutes before it's ready, I'll add my beans and do a final stir. And then we will have it. Yummy.
We got some light red kidney beans. That's our jam over here. So we'll put it in later. But mine's simmering. It smells so good. I'm going to put my face in it.
I know. It's always hard to wait. You're like, And I don't know about y'all, but in the fall and winter, we cook it fairly often.
Yeah. Like I said, it's so easy that it's like, okay, what do? We have turkey. We have all the spices. Let's just make chili. So even if we wind up not having a bell pepper or an onion, like you can still make chili and it can be delicious. So we have staples on hand all the time to make it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that is it. We're going to let it simmer for a while. And then, y'all, when each of our batches are finished, you know that we have to do the taste test.
Yep.
So stay tuned for the taste test.
Yep. We'll be right back.
Alrighty, so my chili is done and it is smelling so good. So I've already put it in a bowl and it's time to taste it. So like we were talking about earlier, we eat ours often on top of tater tots. In my bowl, I have a few tater tots on the bottom, and then I have all that wonderful chili on top of that. And then I've put a little handful of 4-cheese blend. I think it's Mexican 4-cheese blend, shredded cheese. And then a little dollop of sour cream and some diced Mount Olive jalapenos, because these are my favorite. See if I can get that where y'all can see that. All right, so it's time to take a bite. Yum-y. Look at all that goodness. Still kind of steaming, so I know it's a little hot. Let it cool just a little bit. I want to get the tater tot on there. I want to get some of the chili, the cheese, the sour cream. I want to get a little bit of everything. And then I'll see that stain. Yummy. Take a bite. Here we go. That's good. That's real good. And it will be even better tomorrow and the next day, probably, after it sits in the refrigerator. One more bite. I gotta go, y'all. This bowl's calling me. Thanks. We'll see y'all next time.
All right. My chili is finished. I did a taste test before I fixed up a bowl, and it is delicious. It's got a kick, which is what we want, but all those veggies are nice and soft and everything just melts together and it's just so comforting tasting. And so what I've done here in this bowl, I've got some spaghetti, and then I put chili on top, and then I put some cheddar cheese, some sour cream, and some diced up onions. So you can do green onion, You can omit the sour cream. I know that people, myself included, have done like a non-fat Greek yogurt, like a plain Greek yogurt instead of a sour cream if you want it lighter. The possibilities are endless. Do whatever cheese you want. You can add fresh jalapenos. You can add pickled jalapenos, hot sauce, whatever you want. You can use crackers, all that stuff. I'm not going to keep going into detail, but you do whatever you want to make it your delicious chili. So I'm going to show you up close real quick. This beautiful bowl right here of deliciousness, and then I am going to dig into this piping hot level of delicious chili. It is hot, the steam's coming out, so I'm trying not to burn my mouth, okay? Because I don't want to do that on camera. So you got some spiciness, some smokiness. You got the crunch of that fresh onion that balances things out. You got some sour cream to bring some creaminess, and the cheese brings a little bite from the cheddar. It is so good. I wish it was about 10 degrees cooler outside so I could go sit outside with this warm bowl of deliciousness, but guess what? I'm gonna hang out inside and I'm gonna enjoy this with family and friends, and this is just delicious. So I hope you make some soon. As the temperature drops, make it often, and just gather around as a family and just enjoy some comfort food. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time on Inspiration in the Kitchen.